Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Williams, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. I mean, as you know, I don't know, folks, is it that the swamp is not getting cleaned up? Did all of you guys hear what happened today? It seems like Chris Collins, one of the great Republican supporters of the President Donald Trump. Oh my God, what has happened to him? What has happened to that great supporter of Donald Trump? It seems like the man is in trouble. Why is he in trouble? Because he's doing what people in the swamps do. He's doing what people in the swamps do. And you know, it's interesting because Donald Trump said he's cleaning up the swamp. And this guy went on TV and he was always one of Donald Trump's great protectors. So what happened? We're going to talk a little bit about that, but that isn't the gist of the program today. We have a real program today. We're going to talk about the economy, but specifically, we're going to talk about how can what occurred with Senor Tesla really make a difference in your well-being. Think about it. This man sent out a tweet. And for sending out that tweet, things happened. I want to ask you guys, is that really how an economic system is supposed to work? Is that really how an economic system is supposed to work? I mean, you think about what has happened. Think about what has happened in the last how long ago? Let me see, how long is that? It's been a long time since a big major stock market crash. But guess what? It seems right now that we are again in what I like to call, I don't want to call it dire straits because that may be hyperbole for real. But what this guy did kind of shows that after all, our economy is not, first of all not that strengthful, or whatever the word would be. We are at the whims of others. We are at the whims of a tweet. You know, the news media didn't cover that much in the context that I really think they should have covered it. Not at all. They didn't cover it in the context that they should have covered it at all. But anyhow, we are going to do that, folks. This is a progressive show. We try to do our best. Not we try to do our best. We do make sure that what we tell you is always the truth. And whenever it is a point in time that we may make a mistake or something, we make sure to have that corrected, not yesterday, but at the point in time when anything occurs. Unlike what we can say from our mainstream media, who allows things to fester. That is not what we do here. We are Politics Done Right. We believe in truth, and that's all we put out here. So, folks, if you're just joining us, please remember to go ahead and share all these programs on your feed. Please make sure to share the program on your wall, on your Twitter, and everywhere else. As you know, Facebook continues to do what they do best, and that is they've been changing their algorithms again. I don't quite understand what's going on with this new algorithmic change, but yes, they are changing the algorithm again, because what happened is we have seen it clearly based on the performance of our videos, based on the performance of our radio show, based on all these performances. So what we need from our audience is we need our audience to be proactive. We need our audience to go out there and make sure that all that you're doing all you can do to make sure that America is able to see our progressive media. Absent that, folks, the lies will continue. Absent that, folks, these guys will continue to do what they do best. They'll continue to change and support what I call here the whims of the plutocracy. The whims of the plutocracy. So again, if you're just joining us, folks, please go ahead and share on your wall. Please go ahead and share on your page. Welcome aboard, Milton Gibson. Welcome aboard, Michael Rudnan. Welcome aboard, Case Escamilla. Welcome aboard to the show. Thank you so kindly for being here. Please, again, folks, share the show and let's make sure that all get the information that they want to hear, that they need to hear. You know, I got back from Netroots yesterday. I had to close down. I couldn't have a show yesterday. I was under the weather. I think I was burning the candles from two sides of the, I think I was burning the candles from both sides and also the middle. Because, folks, a 24-hour cold came on. I think that not vitamin C, but vitamin C and the zinc seemed to have kind of tapered it very well. So again, all things are go. And we are back in stride. So, folks, if you're just joining, share the thing. What are we going to talk about today? We have a good program to talk about today, folks. And this is important. The title of the show today, and I'm bringing it up right now. I'm hoping that it comes up as it should. It is coming up as it should. If a tweet can take down the market, is the supporting economic system a sham? Think about that. If a tweet can take down the market, if a tweet can take down a stock, on what grounds is our economy built on, if that is the case? And I want to have a little before I get into the program, I want to warn you guys about our Politics Done Right tomorrow. In studio tomorrow, we will have the governor, or not the governor, but the Democratic candidate for governor for Texas, Lupe Valdez, will be with us tomorrow. So remember, 3 p.m. is 3 p.m. all the time. Come here to Politics Done Right. We're going to have a good show for you because the governor, or rather, the governor-to-be of Texas, Lupe Valdez, will be with us live in studio. And from what I understand, on Friday, well, I think this one may be phone, but I'm not sure. I'll be in the studio at KPFT to do this. We're going to have El Senor, who is it that we're going to have? Beto O'Rourke. So, folks, we're getting there. We're getting there. Don fixed up for Don at KPFT, lined up Beto O'Rourke for Friday. I have Lupe Valdez in studio tomorrow. Okay, the title of the show, if a tweet can take down the market, is the supporting structure safe? Absolutely not. And the subtitle, Elon Musk, the founder of Tesla, proved an important point he did not intend to prove, but it illustrated the fraud that our economic system is based on. And folks, I don't say that lightly at all. I do not say that lightly, but our indoctrination prevents us from seeing exactly the type of economy that we have, the type of system that we have, where it pretty much devalues your worth. The vast majority of Americans' worth are devalued because what they try to teach is, don't worry about what those other folks are making. Just worry about yourself. Can you survive? If you can survive, all is okay. Even though I'm ripping you, stealing from you, thieving from you blindly. Folks, what I want us to be here at Politics Done Right and going forward is to make sure to tell folks that we don't have to live by the fallacies of the indoctrination that we've gotten from our current system. What we can do is change our current system. And if progressives start to act with the power that they have because of the morality of their values, we will. Anyhow, I found it amusing, the ruckus Elon Musk created with one tweet. That tweet proved how unstable a foundation or economic system is based on in real time. But to many, it is just the way things are. That is what indoctrination is all about. We are programmed to accept a system where one's true value to society is irrelevant. The establishment of the country created a facade that gave the impression that certain professions and activities are of more value than their intrinsic worth, until we are educated about our system and understand that there are much better ways to really create an economy that people are left, an economy that works for all, nothing is likely to change barring a revolution when enough people are left completely hopeless. Now, that is why the progressive movement must succeed, lest we do not want to envision the future. Again, folks, this is some serious stuff. A lot of people think what occurs in Central America, what occurs in South America, what occurs in all these areas where there's strife, that somehow that is un-American or wouldn't happen in America. America is a democracy and people won't hit the streets and be violent, etc., etc. Trump has proved that wrong. I mean, we now have those people on the right who are now ready and armed for revolution. My biggest fear is what happens when they remember or when they realize that they've been had. What happens when they realize that Trump screwed them? And somehow, in as much as it will be the fault of Trump, as has occurred with riots all over the place, those that are most affected are the ones who are most damaged by the violence created by these particular acts. So we progressives, we've got to get with the ball. We've got to get it rolling. We have to succeed. And why do we have to succeed? Because we are the ones who really care about not only the country, we're the ones who really care about people. We are the ones who really care about humanity. Don't let anyone change or make you believe otherwise. We are the ones that care. We are the ones with the morals. We are the ones with the ethics. We are the ones out there that really believe that people deserve, that people are deserving, that people should be honored. Those are our values. Folks, after the blog of the week, I'd like to hear from you guys. Again, the number is 713. What's the number? 713. Get to the point, Egberto. Get to the point with the number. What is the number? I got to get to the number. Bear with me as I bring this guy back up because I lost it for a minute. But the number is 646-716-5812. Again, that number is 646-716-5812. We are, like I said before, we're going to have a great show for you today. Let me get to my screen with the calls. Folks, I'd love to hear from some of you today. I would love to hear your voices because this is a serious issue. Before we get, though, let's get to the news feed real quick like, and after the news feeds, we'll do the blog of the week. Okay, to start, Independent reports former Michigan State Representative Rashida Tlaib will become the U.S.'s first ever Muslim woman elected to Congress after she won a Democratic primary election to represent Michigan's 13th district, running in a crowded field of candidates vying to replace John Conyers Jr., who served from 1965 until retirement last year, following claims of, I won't even go there. Anyhow, she took 33.6% of the vote following a strong grassroots campaign in which she raised over $1 million. There are no Republican candidates, so as it turns out, she's in a better position than Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, because Alexandria still has to go up against a Republican competitor, a candidate. But this woman, she will be entering Congress as the first Muslim woman to Congress. It's a great thing. It's a woman. I mean, this is great. Anyhow, second story, and we need to get into you. Chris Collins, the Republican in New York, pleaded not guilty Wednesday afternoon to federal insider trading charges. Remember who this guy is now? This is the first congressman, folks, that supported Donald Trump. Remember that. This is the first congressman that came out and says, Donald Trump is the man. And now he's charged with insider trading. The swamp continues. The swamp remains. The swamp is here to stay. Right? And, you know, when Trump talks about the swamp, he's not wrong. You know, not because we don't like Trump, we can't tell the truth, but Washington is a swamp. And it's not just a Republican swamp, it's a Democratic swamp as well. Because none of these guys on the left or the right are really protecting the middle class and the poor. None of them are out there really fighting for us. In fact, they've reached what I call a steady state status quo. What that means is what they're doing, folks, my friends, is there's a lot of difference on the edges with them. But ultimately, they serve one master, and that master is the one who gives them money, right? So once we understand those concepts, once we understand our real position with these guys, it becomes readily evident that what we really need is a political revolution, something that Bernie Sanders had always talked about. And I know a lot of folks, a lot of my listeners, those that are Hillary supporters or those that are Trump supporters or supporters of others, don't like us to get back into those issues. But here's the deal. We have to have a political revolution. And a political revolution is a non-violent revolution in where ideas come out and win. Ideas win at the ballot box. And right now, progressives are doing a fairly good job in getting several of us elected, progressives elected to Congress, progressive elected all through the local governments, because that is where the change is going to occur. When we show people that progressivism isn't the fallacies put out by the right or the Democratic center, but progressivism are those policies that they want, that they've asked for, that they've wanted to, but somehow somebody has told them, well, you know, you really can't have that because we can't afford it. We never forget that whenever there's a war, whenever there's anything needed to be done that had to be done, not related to the poor or whatever else, we've always been able to do it. We've always been able to do things. Hello, Gene Richardson. Welcome aboard. And let's see who else I'm forgetting here. But anyhow, as it turns out, whenever we had to go to war, we never asked the questions, can we afford it? Whenever we have to have a bailout for rich people, we never ask the questions, can we afford it? We just do it under the pretext that if we don't do it, there would be calamity. Not helping the poor, not helping the middle class. How comes that is not a calamity? We have to start looking at where people's values are. We must start looking at where people's values are. So anyhow, Chris Collins was released on a $500,000 bond, and he guess he's not going to go to jail or anything like that. So he'll be fine. But do remember these crooks, and that's what they are. These crooks in Washington always find a way out. And it is imperative for us to not worry about them finding their way out. It is imperative for us to do what? What it's imperative for us to do right now, folks, is go out there and win. As progressives, it is time for us to go out there and do what? Win. And it started with quite a few other folks. It was a pleasant surprise for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. It was also a pleasant support for Khalib, the Muslim woman who just won in Michigan. It was a pleasant surprise yesterday when we had O'Connor versus the other guy in Ohio. A lot of people say it's a dead heat. It is a dead heat, folks. If you're just joining us, please go ahead and share the program. But anyhow, folks, do you know what time it is? Because I do. I know exactly what time it is.
It's time for the weekly blog post.
Okay. Our weekly blog post for today. It's funny because we have a weekly blog post every day, right? So it's a week from that. So this is a weekly Tuesday, the weekly Wednesday blog post. And for those who are just joining in, remember that tomorrow we're going to have Lupe Valdez, the Democratic gubernatorial candidate for Texas. She will be in studio with us at KPFT on Politics Done Right. And on Friday, we are going to have Beto O'Rourke. Beto O'Rourke we're going to have on Friday. So like I promised you forever, what Politics Done Right is we're going to bring those folks in. We're going to talk to them, and we're going to let them talk to you about what they intend to do. Anyhow, the title of the show, the title of the blog of the week, Tesla's founder Elon Musk proves economic system and stock market gambling frauds. That's what they are, gambling frauds. Let nobody fool you, my friend. Don't let anybody tell you, oh, those stockbrokers, they do important things for society. These stockbrokers are so important, so They must have special values. They must have special cutouts and taxes. Not the middle class. They can claim for bankruptcy. But if you have a student loan, you can't claim for bankruptcy. They can do as they please. But you can't. No. Let's remember. Let's start putting things into context, my dear brothers and sisters. Anyway, Elon Musk, Tesla's founder, sent out a tweet claiming that he is considering taking Tesla private. He said he had already secured funding. He made sure to put the second statement in, I am sure, to get by SEC rules. Don't think he didn't think about it before he did that, but he knew what he was doing, and I'm going to explain that later on in the blog, folks. That was a powerful tweet, and it shows the fragility of what we call our economic system. It is poor, it is sad, but let's move on. He said he had, Elon Musk, Tesla's founder, sent out a tweet claiming that he is considering taking Tesla private. He said he had already secured funding. He made sure to put that second statement in, I'm sure, to get by SEC rules. But that one tweet set off a chain of events that proved the fragility and the shallowness our economic system is based on: a gambling game. Our economic system is nothing but a what? Gambling game. Anyhow, Elon Musk's tweet and the resulting financial results should dispel any notion that the stock market is anything but a legalized gambling platform. Nothing changed at the company that justifies the change in the value of the stock, assuming it was based on anything other than a whim. And that's all it's based on, a whim. Yet, a tweet lost a lot of wealth for many as it otherwise made a lot. This is a definition of gambling, losing, or winning cash without producing anything. Yet, a tweet lost a lot of wealth for many as others made a lot is what I should have said. That is the definition of gambling, losing or winning cash without producing anything. Again, think about how much money exchanged hands. Think about how much money was made. Did these guys do anything? For you to make $10 an hour, $20 an hour, $30 an hour, you have to put your clothes on, you go out there to work, and you do something sensible. These guys just hear something. Oh my God, Tesla's going private. Oh my God, I shorted the stock. Folks, understand that we're being played with this thing called the stock market. Understand that we've been played by this type of economy that we've had, because that's what it does. It plays us. And it gives us a belief that somehow this was a God-driven economy. This economy was divine. It has to be this way. Well, it does not have to be this way, folks. This is a false economy, an economy built. For those of you who follow the Bible, you remember about the seeds falling on a rock, the seeds falling on good soil, or the seeds falling on sand? The stock market is sand. It's sand. And we have to realize that it's a fraud. Now, I cannot say that I am sad to see the results of the tweet. Let me explain. Most financial companies make money not by investing in companies for the sole purpose of making money from the success of their products and services, but for merely moving paper and money around. Their investments produce nothing useful for society. They generate money off the backs of others having formed companies, others who have created products and services. I fail to see how this is substantially different from welfare recipients. Maybe welfare recipients should put on a suit, or should put on suits and ties, as they use the system to get something for nothing. Now, the idea of that statement was absolutely not to disparage anybody on welfare. It was to put the reversal on those who trade in stock, thinking that they're doing something for society and thinking that they're more important to that person who's on welfare. They're not. They're not. Here's the deal. To be clear, most citizens on welfare are there because we do not have an economic system that rewards the real value of work. We reward capital more so than human labor. In other words, those with capital profit more than those who actually do the job to maintain that capital. But our indoctrination has taught us that those with capital are more valuable to society. Put a farmer on a deserted land or island alongside a stockbroker. If each is left to their own device, who do you think would survive? Think about it. Throw a farmer and a stockbroker on an island. They have to fend for themselves. Who do you think will survive? Who is more valuable? The one with capital or the one who can produce something? That answer is simple, right? The one who can produce something. That is your worth. I mean, it upset me when I see the reverence with which stockbrokers and these billionaires who made their monies off the back of others get a whole lot of kudos. It upsets me. It doesn't upset, a lot of folks on the right like to say, you're upset because of envy. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Personally, I'm a producer. I produce a lot of products, a lot of services, and made money for doing that. What upsets me is the disregard with which our economy treats those who really create value. That is what upsets me. Those stockbrokers and bankers, they do very little for our society. They do a job that we can actually have a government employee do at just the same efficiency, if not better efficiency, because we won't have to pay them stock options and all those kinds of things. It irks me. It really irks me that stockbrokers and those people that you see all over CNBC who talk down to the rest of Americans, who talk down to the workers, who talk down to those who are the ones that are valued. When we look at Jeff Bezos, the richest man on the planet, he didn't get rich because he had that much potential to doing all these things. He got rich on the backs of hundreds of thousands of people who produce. But it's in our indoctrination, we believe, in the way that we were indoctrinated in society, we believe that Jeff Bezos and all those folks who own capital or who have one good idea that could bring in a whole lot of people deserve all the spoils of that idea, such that now you become several billionaires over, and at the same time worth such a large part of the total wealth of the country. Are you kidding me? There are hundreds of thousands of people that have had great ideas. And not only that, ideas are built upon the ideas of others. So Jeff Bezos, absent the idea of von Neumann, absent the ideas of the microprocessor developer, absent the ideas of the screen developers, absent the ideas of all these guys that made the internet, absent all those things, Jeff Bezos's one idea of selling online would not have come to fruition. So sitting down, for those who defend the wealth of those like Jeff Bezos, etc., they would say, well, he had a great idea and he marketed the great idea. And I would say, yes, he marketed the great idea based on the great ideas of hundreds of thousands of people, based on the ideas of millions of people that preceded him. And for that small amount of person to be able to monopolize on the spoils, we have been indoctrinated into believing that that is fair. Gotta watch my accent here, the little panameñito salió un poquitito. Folks, we have to start re-indoctrinating ourselves to reality, to how things really are. They are not the creators of anything. You are. Think about that. I would love folks to start. I've written several blogs on knowing your worth, accepting your worth, really knowing what you're worth. It is so important for us to understand that no person is an island. No person is self-sufficient. No person exists from within themselves. No person has ideas that are solely theirs. I came up with as an example, one of my claims to fame was to allow something known as an RTS signal to fall very quickly after a piece of data was transmitted over a line, over a signal. And an interrupt occurs, and I dropped it right away. And even though the microprocessor wasn't designed to do that, I found a way to magically drop that signal immediately so that they could transmit real fast and reverse the bus and All that kind of intricacies was developed within my software. And I could sit down and I said, oh, I'm so darn smart. Look what I did with software that I was able to control that piece of equipment. Did I do that? Diddly hell no. The reality is I base what I did on the knowledge set of everybody that came before me with that microprocessor and was able to create an interrupt structure that rang the CPU at a certain time, and that I was able to fool into using a clock to look. In the old days, in my old days when I was indoctrinated by the fraud that is our form of capitalism, I would say I deserved to make all the money that I made by creating that technology and licensing it all over the place. Okay? In the old days, I would say, that's mine. I designed it. As one grows up, as one learns the realities, one has to ask themselves, how much prior knowledge was used to create what you've created? And the reality is much. The reality, had I not flown on an airplane designed by many other people to come to the United States, had I not depended on the great taxpayers of the state of Texas and the United States of America, who ensured that we had a great university known as the University of Texas that allowed many of us to attend, had I not been able to have a university that had the first instances of the microprocessor and had teachers who were able to teach me how to program, I would not have been able to develop this. Had I not worked for several private companies where I was able to hone the skills. Had I not, and I can continue with had I not. And what I would then realize is we are a family, that we are all dependent on each other, that we, for all the software that I developed, and I can show you books and books of software that I developed. I wrote the books, I wrote the code and everything. Unlike what many corporations do, they put other people to do that job, and the profit zone go to the person who did the job, but it goes to the stockholders. In the case of my small company, I wrote all that stuff. From books right up to software, right up to even designing some of the hardware. And acknowledging, in as much as we bled the midnight oil, acknowledging that knowledge came from elsewhere, and that is one of the reasons I never feared or never minded paying a whole lot of taxes. The reason why is one should realize that we're not an island. And when it comes to that tweet destroying a whole lot of short sellers of Tesla, it was a wondrous thing, because just like they created nothing, they shouldn't care that they've lost it all or lost a lot of it. Because after all, it was never their creation. Same thing with Bezos and all the billionaires that have depended on the work of others, that have depended on all the product, the intellect of others. We have to change our mindset. It is time for us as Americans to change our mindset, lest the income and wealth distribution continues unabated. We have to realize up front that isn't wealth earned. That is wealth stolen based on an economic system of fraud. Think about it. We have a fraudulent system that does not justifiably distribute the income as from those who actually created the products or created the labor to make the products. When we can instantiate that in our head, then we will start voting in politicians that will, or claim they will, change the modus operandi. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, if you listen to some of her speeches, as young as she is, she understands the concept. She may not understand all the geopolitics that's involved as well, but she understands the concept. My belief is probably a bit more radical than hers, because I do believe it is time for us to more equitably distribute the wealth of the nation. I believe there is no such thing as an oil company that should be private when taking the resources of Americans off of Americans' land. But that's another subject that I'm not going to get into right now. But it is important, folks. It is important for us to change the narrative. It is important for us to not be indoctrinated. It is important for us to not just take these things at face value. Oh my God, Mr. Bezos, he must be a great guy. Look how many $1 billion he has. Warren Buffett must be a great guy. Look how many $1 billion he has. Warren Buffett is a nice guy playing by the rules of this system, and a lot of folks love him. I love that Warren Buffett thinks his secretary should make as much as he does, but I don't even think Warren Buffett is worth what Warren Buffett has got. I don't think Bill Gates is worth what Bill Gates has got. And again, it is important for us to stress this is not envy. This is about mechanics of how capital flows and how capital is attained and how folks get the capital and who really generated the capital that these guys have. And who didn't get a part of the spoils, a part of what this capital earned. Folks, it's so important. To change the mindset in America will be difficult. But if you understand the concept, just like I am out here on Politics Done Right putting this out, you can too. Usted puede hacerlo también. Porque te voy a decir que es imperativo que la gente entiende esto. It's imperative that people understand this. It is so imperative that folks realize we have a system that only benefits a few. And we have a system where only that a few percentage are what I call the guardians of the gate. In other words, they have to look like there are a lot of them protecting the system or that the system is good. But it is not. Continuing with the blog, Tesla has problems any innovative cutting-edge company has, and as such, should not be judged on a quarter-by-quarter basis, of course. Don't tell that to the titans of finance who scrutinize a company ad nauseum. When companies enter a stage where the stock price may fall because of market forces or investor short-sightedness, financial vultures would enter and short the stock. Exactly what is shorting the stock? Let me explain. Shorting a stock is an evil technique to profit when a stock falls in price. That's all it is. It's an evil technique that one can make money when the price of a stock falls. Sapish? Or capiche? It's crazy. The price of a stock is supposed to fall if the company is starting to misbehave or not producing as much. And there should be nobody making money off of a failure of a company. It should be legal. How can you make money off of a failing company? It is no different than what, let's say, Bain's Capital, where Mitt Romney was a part of, screwed over, along with other companies, screwed over Toys R Us. They buy up Toys R Us, fill it up with debt, and bankrupt the thing. 30-something thousand employees gone. The guys who went ahead and invested in Toys R Us walked off with a killing, and everybody else is left holding the bag. It's thievery. The capitalist system as implemented right now is thievery. It is theft. It is evil. And I'm not look, quote me. And I would love to speak to any true full-blooded capitalists who want to discuss whether this is a system that has defined the efficient allocation of resources. It's a system that best efficiently allocate resources. That is how they define it. That is the biggest piece of fraud on the planet. Otherwise, teachers would be some of the most well-compensated people, because absent teachers, they're the pipeline of knowledge. Teachers are the pipeline of knowledge. Teachers are the folks that should probably be paid the most in this society, because they're the ones that after 500 years, knowledge would only have been moved through them. And when I say teachers, I use that term loosely, right? A teacher doesn't have to be a person just sitting down in a classroom. A teacher can be an engineer in a neighborhood teaching. A teacher can be somebody at a company teaching. What I'm saying, those who inform should be some of the most best people. Anyhow, continuing. Many vultures shorted Tesla stock. Elon Musk's one tweet cost them $1.3 billion in just a few hours. These guys produce nothing as they make millions on the service and innovation of others. Elon Musk turned the table on them yesterday as he pulled the rug from under them. Many think it is a bluff, but if it is not, the vultures would have justifiably lost their shirt as the price of the stock approaches the supposed purchase price to take Tesla private. So says the blog of the week. Folks, before I continue, I just want to make a quick pitch here. Remember, this is a progressive show that would love to have your support. We simply do your work. This is your show. And just like we ask you to become subscribers of Politics Done Right, it's just how we subscribe to other programs as well. We subscribe to dailycoast.com, democraticunderground.com, opednews.com, coffeepartyusa.com, and many others. The Democratic Party, local, meaning the CDP. We do our part as far as making sure that we fund, however small, many progressive organizations. And why? Because while the other side has a whole lot of support, in general, we don't. So what we ask, what we try to do is we try to let you know that we are here for you, that this is your program. We will have subjects that you ask us to cover. We will have subjects that we know are of interest, like today, talking about how the economic system is a failure. And the reason we want to educate you or educate ourselves on how the economic system works is for one specific reason, so that when you have the politicians and the reporters and the pundits talking crap about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's a socialist and this is what she wants and she's going to destroy the country. We want you to be well aware of how economies really work. You don't get it on TV because they can't tell you. They can't be frank on TV and tell you in absolute terms because that is who pays them. That's our job. Please go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright. patreon.com/politics done right. P as in person, A, T as in Tom, REON as in Nancy.com/politics done right. One more time, patreon.com/politics done right. Show that you support progressive media. They have the Koch brothers. They have billions of dollars behind them. All we have is, again, if I showed you the scarce piece of equipment, computer number 1, computer number 2, mixer number 1, mixer number 2. And as you know, we went to Netroots Nation and I did over 44, I think it was 46 interviews that I did at Netroots Nation. I'm releasing them as I get a chance to process them because, again, this is a 1.5 person operation. And the 0.5 person is anybody else I can get to help me at any given time. But this is a labor of not love, but a labor of responsibility, a labor of saying, you know what? Somebody has to do it. I will do it. And many others have taken this step. If you take a look at throughout Houston, all those activists that you see planning things, they decided they were going to make that choice. They were going to say to themselves, you know what? We can't continue to say somebody else is going to do it. We have to be the one who go out there and do it. So if you are listening to this right now, I ask you so kindly to go to patreon.com, patreon.com/politics done right. Be a part owner of this show. You be a part owner of this show. You be a part of this. This is how we are going to make a change. We're going to make a change by supporting all our progressive outlets, because the information that needs to be out there is not going to be on TV. You notice how today somebody got pulled out or thrown in jail for insider trading, to which I say, haha, funny. Insider trading occurs all of the times, because you know what? You're the only stooge. Only the little people who go into the market are not the beneficiaries of insider trading. But all those big guys out there, that's all they do. That's how the market runs. It's a big gambling game, and that was a blog of the week about today. It's a big gambling game, and the only way we're going to change a system to make it a system that is more equitable for us all is if we have the support of you. And so we're asking you, check it out, patreon.com/politicsdoneright. become a subscriber. We'd love to get to 100 subscribers. Now we'd like to get to 1,000 subscribers by election day. Can you help us do that? We so badly need those subscribers. Again, that is Patreon, patreon.com/politics and rights. You have it there on the screen as well. And you can click on the link directly from the video to get to that screen. But anyhow, folks, do remember this is a call-in show, and you can give us a call at, and I got the wrong screen up, but here's the right screen now. You can give us a call at 646-716-5812. Again, that number is 646-716-5812. Do remember, tomorrow we have Lupe Valdez, the Democratic gubernatorial candidate for Texas. And I tell you what, when we do that show, we're going to give all the reasons why this woman should become the next governor of Texas. This woman has paid her dues, and it is time, if folks vote appropriately, that she will be the next governor of Texas. And by the way, folks, on Friday, we'll have Beto O'Rourke, who is running to unseat Senator Ted Cruz. He will be on with us on Friday at KPFT 90.1 FM. We'll be putting it out here as well at 3 o'clock, because that's what we do. That is what we do. So, folks, anyhow, what do you think about the blog of the week? What are your thoughts? Give us a call. I'd love to hear from you. I can continue with monologues indefinitely. That's just who I am. I love to speak. I love to talk. I love to go ahead and inform. That is what we do here. We go ahead and we inform. So if you have anything to add, if you want to say something, just go ahead and let's hear from you. In the interim, I think it is time for me to go ahead and look to see what my great Facebook folks are saying about, so far, what we've spoken about. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to have some important concepts out there, because as I've mentioned before, whether on the left or on the right, I have some of the best listeners, followers, subscribers that anyone can ask for. And I am very proud of them all. Whether you're on the right, you're on the left, because you know what my thing is. Whenever we can unite the barrios, the ghettos, and the Appalachia, we are going to win this battle. And one of my goals is to do just that. Not to shy away from reality, not to shy away from telling the truth, not to shy away from any of that, to have poignant conversations, to have pointed conversations, to be frank, without fear, but at the same time be respectful, to respect you all as we see where different points of view. But folks, it is important that we speak. It is important that we get the message out. It is so darn important that we do all these things. So what I am going to do is start going over. Let's see, we have Macaroni Chase Escamilla. Oh man, now you're on my language. Yes, sir. I know you like this. Chase Escamilla, have a great show. Would love to chat today. You can call in anytime, Mr. Escamilla. All right, let's see. Michael Rudden, something's wrong with my FV. Can't watch a video. Why not? I hope you got that fixed. Let's see. You sound tired today. Yes, I am tired. Actually, I am very tired. I have a cold, and I am just trying to recover from. It was a tough time in Netroots Nation. Let me just give it a little story at Netroots. I got there on Wednesday early, and I got up to the hotel. They got me a room early. Got down, and I went directly to the exhibit hall. And by then, all the Netroots Nation folks were starting to line up all the things for the goodie bag, the grab bags. We had over 3,000 grab bags to fill up, so I spent some time being a part of the train. Well, actually, myself and Mike, what we did is, as people formed the line and started filling up the grab bags, we were taking grab bags from everybody and stacking them into big piles, because that is what had to go to the people. And then after that, of course, I had to go set up all the radio equipment and the visual equipment, make sure the network was working perfectly so that we could do all our interviews that we were sending out. And I did. And after that, I did 44. Actually, I think it was 46 interviews. 46 interviews. Included in those interviews, I got to the woman running for governor of New York, which is Cynthia Nixon. I also spoke to Treehout, Zephyr Teach Out. So not only did it with, as I interviewed Zephyr Teach Out, who is running for Attorney General of New York. I spoke to Mayor Anise Parker. I spoke to a whole bunch of activists that that are out there doing a whole lot of very important work. And I spoke to a whole lot of people. The guy who is designing basic income, there's, I'm releasing those videos and you'll see it. So yes, am I tired? I'm still recovering from last Wednesday. I mean, it started Wednesday, didn't end till Sunday. And Sunday, I did not sleep at all. Saturday, I went straight until Sunday night before I slept. So I was up more than 24 hours straight. So yes, I'm tired, my dear friend. Now, okay, Michael Redden, vitamin C does nothing for a cold. That's a myth. Why did you have to bust my bubble? But what I was doing as well, sir, is taking zinc. Are you going to tell me zinc doesn't work either? Please don't bust my bubble if it's not the truth. Because that's all we do here at Politics Done Right. We only tell the truth. Anyway, Michael Redden says, okay, tabs, 1 for the video, 1 for the chat. Sort of works, but just barely. Tried with Chrome Fire. Oh my God, I don't know what's happening, my friend. Russia, baddest media minds on earth. Yeah, they know what they're doing, all right, and they know what they're doing, Escamilla. That revolution is coming in less than 20 years as generalized AI's automation takes 50% of the jobs. That is unless if the top 0.1% do something to shift our economy. And there are ways to shift the economy. I mean, if you're going to get 50% of the job, reduce the work week by 50%, right? People have more times with their families, and that in itself will create more industry. Because what happens is now that you have people that are not concentrated on being at work, there has to be other things created for these people who are no longer going to be working but are going to have other activities to do. So AI is great, but AI can actually create other industries, and people don't look at it that way. Bruce Pollard, welcome back. Thank you so kindly, Bruce. Great to be back. I'm happy to be back as well. Okay, let's see what else. Michael Rendon, it started last year, but it's hard to find humans who get it. Why India and China own the U.S. now? You get it, brother. They do own the U.S. for all practical purposes. They do own the U.S. for all practical purposes. Let's see. Micro insider trading is a pattern offense for our corrupt Congress. Yeah, and you know what? I am surprised they got him because he only got caught because he told somebody else. But if he had done it all on his own, Congress is immune from that from what I understand in the law. And I don't think they've changed that law at all. Okay, Kate, it's part of the economic carnage. Yes, sir. Okay, Egberto, screw election system. Hope you talk about that tomorrow. You know what? We'll have Lupe Valdez tomorrow. That's the governor. The woman's running for governor. So, yeah, we'll be able to talk about that. Elon Musk hates the state's system. I didn't know that, Tiskami. You may have to expand on that for me. And Mike Cisak, we've been played by the government politicos. Wow. I would love you to explain how we've been played by the government politicos when the reality is the government is controlled by the plutocracy, who itself is the 0.1% that we've always spoken about. So I think you may have it a little bit reversed, my dear friend Michael Cisak. Okay, Renan says shorting stocks hoping that bad things happen and stocks lose value should be illegal. As such, it's in the other. Yeah, it is. I mean, shorting stocks makes absolutely no sense. You're betting on failure, but worse, what it does is it creates an incentive for you to create failure. In other words, let's say I want a stock to go down and I am with General Motors, right? I can go ahead and wreck a car, create a story that the car had a defect, get that in the right place, and suddenly the stock falls. That is how terrible, how fragile the basis of our economy is. It is so fragile that hot air can change the outcome of stocks. That hot air can change somebody's entire retirement. Let's say somebody was a person in Ford only or whatever. It is amazing. It is amazing, my dear, beautiful friends, my brothers and my sisters. Listen to me here. There is much for us to do, but we first have to educate ourselves. We first have to be together. Please. It is so important. Anyhow, continue with my dear friends on Facebook. Stockbrokers are going away in about 10 years' time. They should be gone already. Okay, I have quite a few words from Mike Cisak that I think I'm going to have to read. It says, people have to labor to own capital, which is then used to make more income, increase in value. That is one of the most, I love you, Cisak, but that is one of the silliest statements made to date. Look at those who own capital in 2018. See how much of that capital was made from the works of their hands or inherited. That's number one. And number two, remember, they didn't do the labor the intellect, or the service, many of them, for the capital that they've got. It is the excess labor, the excess of what somebody else produced that becomes their capital appreciation. It is something that Americans have a hard time because they've been indoctrinated into believing it's like my software. I designed that software, all of it, from scratch. Do I feel entitled to all the spoils from that software? Absolutely. In the past, yes. As I became educated, no. Why? Because it was built on the backs of many. How? Because I was taught. Because the compilers that I used to generate things, and all these other issues, folks, came from the commons, came from us all. It is presumptuous to believe any one single person is great enough to amass the capital that these billionaires have amassed. Hell, that's just the truth. And then he says, Bezos created the system that enriched millions of small business owners who then made things cheaper for people. Let me tell you how false that is, because I was a part of that revolution. You know that thing called one-click that Bezos patented, or that Amazon patented? They didn't come up with that idea before I did. I was writing a cart system way before that, early on before Amazon. And I said I was doing that. I was. But there were hundreds of other software developers. I mean, what I'm trying to say is there was nothing great about what Bezos did. Somehow, capitalization went to him. But there was hundreds of people, hundreds of software developers who had that idea long before Bezos did. They didn't have a way or find a way to capitalize. In my case, I could give 1,000,000 reasons why I couldn't capitalize on it. But by then, it was patented. So, folks, again, Mr. Cizek, you have bought into the fallacies of the thing. And I bet if I were to check your net worth, it would be very close to nothing compared to these guys. Yet you are one of their staunchest defenders. When your value to society, Mr. Cizek, is probably that much more than theirs. I likely have more respect for you, Mr. Cizek, than they do. I personally think there's a good likelihood you do more for society, Mr. Cizek, than they do. But you're here carrying the water for them. Amazing. And that is indoctrination that we've got to remove. Michael Rudnan, most progress and innovation stands on the shoulders of your predecessors. Absolutely. And that is what we need to show Mr. Cizek. That said, inventors are the only ones who should be multimillionaires in this world. And I kind of agree. I wrote a whole bunch of software. I'm not a millionaire at all. I could have been if I stayed doing it, but instead, what I did was gave up everything and decided that, you know what, things ought to be better. And in the process, I'm just a paupus now. But anyhow, folks, listen. It is so important for us to understand how things work. This is Rudnan saying, Jeff Bezos did nothing to deserve being a billionaire. Absolutely so. Our current economic system works for the top 10%, leaves the vast majority wanting. Folks, this is the end of the show. But before I close the show, I want to head and do one more ask. Please remember, this is a call-in show in the future. Please go ahead and try to call in. Let's have a talk. But, folks, my dear folks, please support the show. Patreon.com/politicsdoneright. Patreon.com/politicsdoneright. All one word. Patreon.com/politicsdoneright. Show that, hello, René Perpetua, without the structure of society built on their backs. You're absolutely right, René Perpetua. Look, folks, we have to close the show down, but please, if you have the wherewithal, if you go to Starbucks and other places and buy several coffees a day, a week, or whatever, why not give one to Politics Done Right? Patreon.com/Politics Done Right. Become a subscriber. This is your show. This is your show. You determine what we are going to cover. So, folks, I'd like to really, again, ask for your support. PoliticsDoneRight.com, or rather, Patreon.com/PoliticsDoneRight, or you can go to any one of our websites, egbertowillies.com or PoliticsDoneRight.com, and there's a link directly to Patreon that you can get there and support us. Please support something that is growing, something that is going to be positive for our entire body politic. My name is Egberto Willies, and you know how I am going to end this show. This is Politics and Right. My name is Egberto Willies, and I am out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.